Bure Apapa differ over appeal court's ruling on Labour Party leadership. And later on the show, President Tinubu blames Chicago University clerk for anomalies, blatant irregularities, appearance of difference on academic certificates. I'll be hanging out with Dr. Oladipo and Paul Dada. Babajide Kolade Otitoju will be joining us from our Abuja studio. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. It's Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Let's begin with the crackdown on economic saboteurs in Nigeria. Troops of the 6th Division, Nigeria Army, have destroyed 8 active ovens used for illegal refining of stolen crude in Delta State. According to the Director of Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, they destroyed 14 storage reservoirs containing stolen crude oil, estimated at 200,000 liters and 90,000 liters for locally refined diesel. Gentlemen, we keep seeing this every day. Doctor, let me start from you. And it seems the administration of Bola Tinubu, I think it seems they are ready to take on the saboteurs. It seems they are ready to take on those that sell our crude oil illegally. So every day now, we now get to hear of this kind of stories. We want to make sure that our revenue profile, is up there, so that these people will stop shortchanging us.
Yes, you are quite right on that. Like we were told when the administration came in by the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, especially when the president visited the NSA's office and saw the kind of gadgets, equipment, sophisticated technology installed in that office, that nothing stops Nigeria from being able to monitor any part of the country, especially the South-South, where the bulk of this sabotage takes place. So if we are getting it right, it's kudos to those who are manning that sector, and then also to the troops. Because what we've seen for a couple of years now have been what we'll say are minor things that people get away with, and then they are brought to the fore. We've seen the arrest of vessels. We've also seen destruction of illegal refineries. I think this is good for us. But more attention should be focused on how to even cut off completely the supplies getting to these refineries. Because that is where the bulk of the work lies. Once the crude is able to leak,
200,000
crude. Once it's able to get out, anyhow, whether it is going to be sold to the international market, whether it is going to be refined locally, something will be done. So more attention should be paid to that. Once you cut off the supply, the refineries become useless. I think that's what we should be looking at.
Yeah, the operation of illegal refineries has gone on for too long, and Nigeria has been losing a lot. I think we have about $3 billion, in 1 year wasted due to stealing of crude and all of that. Apart from the money that is the fund that is being lost, the effect on health. We've had cases of deaths occurring as a result of explosion in illegal refineries. There was a documentary by the NNPC that in July, within 5 days in July, 6 days in July, I think they discovered about 69 illegal refineries in Bayelsa, mostly in Bayelsa, and about over 90 illegal connections. What they do is they go to break the pipeline, siphon oil, and then connect it to their... what do they even do? Just some sort of oven or pot or tank, and then a cauldron, and then they heat it, and then they have the products they want to have. They mostly deal in AGO, diesel, and all of that. So it's a problem to the environment. It's also a problem to the environment because they pollute the water, it affects wildlife, pollutes the air, and all of that. So all hands, we cannot rest on our horse. All hands must be on deck. Kudos to the authorities because of the renewed fight against oil theft and illegal refinery. I just hope they keep it up.
BKO, we have unfortunate situation whereby these people collaborate and connive with government officials, security, to perpetuate this illegal act.
Have been stealing from the country, and there is every reason to believe that there is official connivance. Even security operatives are very much involved. You can imagine a situation in which I was reading this week about Libya, a war-torn Libya, able to produce more than 1.250 million barrels a day. That's on the average. Nigeria in the month of July was only able to do 1,080,000. That is way below our OPEC quota, because OPEC expects us to deliver a minimum of 1.7 million barrels a day. So if a war-torn country like Libya can do 1.250 million barrels a day, it's such a big shame on our country that we are allowing this to happen to us. And we are losing so much money as a result of oil theft. The minister has already told us that we still lose on a daily basis at least 400,000 barrels a day. Some oil companies have divested from Nigeria because of this problem. And because of the absence of those companies and the fact that we've not been able to replace them, it will be tough for us to even meet our quota, because that is what we call production shorting. So we need to defeat oil theft so that we can earn more money, which will help the value of our currency, because the more money we earn by way of foreign exchange, the stronger our currency will become. So we can't be producing 1.80 million barrels a day when our quota is 1.7 million barrels a day. We can't be producing 1.80 million barrels a day. It's just sad. And that's why we have all the problems that we have. We can't pay our bills. We are taking loans up and down. We can't keep the value of our currency steady, because it is incumbent on how much foreign exchange you earn. And that is our main foreign exchange earner. So that is a sector that actually Bola Ahmed Tinubu has to fix in every way possible. Otherwise, as a country, we'll be in trouble.
We have to name and shame these individuals conniving with, these vandals, especially in the armed forces and within NNPC, people working with them just to bring the country down, just to sabotage the outputs.
I think we are getting close to that. We are getting close to that, because if in the last 1-2 months vessels have been arrested, they will be traced to owners. They will be traced to those who actually hired them for the job. So I think we are getting very, very close to that. And that's what we really need now. There is nothing else that will work more effectively than that. Once people know that there will be consequence for whatever they have done, definitely these things will stop.
Paul, our people, we sometimes I'll be forced to say that patriotism does not run inside some Nigerians.
Yeah. And
it's very easy to do anything that will hurt the country.
And that is why I will also call for naming and shaming. It's not enough to say that we'll get close to that. Let us see it happen. You know, BK shared a report that over 400,000 barrels. That's even far ahead of what I read. What I read is, the report I have is over 200,000 barrels lost per day. That accounts for 10% of...
per day?
Yes, 10% per day. Whether it is 200,000 barrels or it is 400,000 barrels, which one is good? Which one is good there? So there must be naming and shaming. It's not enough to just destroy those illegal refineries. We want to see the dark, the bad, the ugly faces behind those sinister acts. They must be named and shamed. They must be prosecuted, and they must be dealt with.
We want to bring this country on its knees.
Exactly.
That will be given quota by OPEC and will not be able
and we cannot meet it. And why?
Some people will be silent.
We're just like the proverbial for those who understand Yoruba. You understand? It's like the child of a meat seller that eats bones. You know, we are blessed with abundance of resources in this country, but because of the act of sabotage by unscrupulous people, we keep having problems that we should not be having at this time. So there must be naming and shaming, there must be prosecution. S must roll. And that's what we want to see.
Bigio, somebody was even pointing at the way they vandalize our natural resources, our crude oil, the way they take it out and sell illegally. That is the same thing that we have in Zamfara, where we are blessed with gold. And some people that are interested will just send workers all out on a gold mine, not bothering that this is exclusive right of the federal government. Individuals will go there, and they'll be mining.
You improve security in those areas, you cannot really bring sanity to the mining. And what really has government done? Zamfara is extremely rich in gold, by far richer than the Ilesha area in Osun State. In Zamfara, on the surface of the earth, if the rain falls, it washes away the topsoil, and you will see gold with your own eyes. This is not fiction. This is what I saw. Even lithium, Zamfara has it in abundance. You know? So, but what is the structure for prospecting these mineral resources? There's really no structure on ground. There's no reason why Zamfara, as rich as it is in gold, should not have a gold refinery. Kudos to Governor Oyetola, who set up a gold refinery in Osun State, working with some investors from Zimbabwe. That is what you should do in a place like Zamfara, because it's almost effortless. Taking gold in Zamfara is almost effortless. There was a time that it rained, and villagers rushed to the site where they saw gold, and they were just packing the thing. The governor had to send police to chase them away. It's that easy. Whereas in Osun State, you would dig up to 80 meters to 100 meters before you encounter gold. In Zamfara, it's just there, lying on the floor, literally. And governments at all levels, they are not doing anything. I'm not convinced that the federal government has even done enough. So we have to start from there. I don't blame those who are taking gold from Zamfara, because the situation is not even, it's not regulated the right way it should be. So that is my opinion on that. We have to do much more than simply talking about these things. Have to be well regulated. If we need to relocate people to other places so that government can take over those places where the state is very rich in gold, you can relocate them, build fantastic houses for them, and bring gold refineries and the private sector, both from Nigeria and outside Nigeria, to those areas, and let them continue mining and let government be able to make money from what they are mining. For now, there is no discipline about the way the thing is done. There's no structure at all, no gold refinery. How can you have a state so rich in gold and there's not one gold refinery? I mean, it's ridiculous.
All right. It's a season of palliative in Nigeria due to the impact of petrol subsidy removal. In Borno State, Governor Babagana Zulum, who visited the National Youth Service Corps NYC orientation camp in Maiduguri, announced donation of 36.4 million naira palliatives to the 1,215 corps members deployed to the states. Governor Zulum also allocated 100 bags of rice, 10 cows, 10 bags of beans, and 10 gallons of cooking oil for special meal to be prepared for the corps members during the ongoing 3 weeks orientation campaign. In Anambra State, organized labor has commended Governor Chukwuma Soludo for distributing subsidy palliatives and payment of additional 12,000 naira to workers from September to December. Let's start from Governor Zulum. You know, ordinarily, if I have a daughter and she's posted to Borno State, I will hesitate. Yes. Well, the way it is now, I will hesitate. But I don't even mind to skip that 3 months. But it's courage for parents to allow, if they have 1,215 core members in Maiduguri. So for Governor Zulum to come to encourage them beyond what the federal government will be giving them, to bring palliatives, to bring money, to bring bags of rice, to bring cows, to bring rice and gallons of oil, that we encourage these guys and we assure them of their safety.
We shouldn't also forget that this is the first time in 13 years that orientation will be taking place.
Really? The first time?
In 13 years. It's been stopped because of the insecurity.
And knowing that Maiduguri is safe now?
In the state, yes. Even Borno, to a large extent, it is safe. Like we have said, it's just what they do now is attack on soft targets. That's for the terrorists. Not like before where nothing is predictable, where they enter into military bases. That has been stopped for a while now. And that's what even gave the NYC the courage.
The first time
yes, we can go back to Borno State now. And I'm sure Governor Zulu must have been one of those who would have requested for it. Because
that's why is my state different?
Yes, things are happening in other states. Even in Yobe, where it used to be also a major issue, that's the insecurity. Adamawa, they are back there. But Borno has been left out. What they do is to go for orientation elsewhere and see where they can post those core members to that are safe, secure, in a way. So what Zulum has done is also furthering what he has been doing in terms of seeing to the fact that the welfare of people of the state is not toyed with. During this period he has been governor, he has done quite well, visiting communities that have been attacked and making donations cash and then giving them farm implements and seedlings to begin life again. So this will go a long way in helping these corps members and giving them a sense of belonging there, because he has done this over time for those who have even served in the States, even when there was no orientation camp. He has always intervened, 10,000 here, 5,000 there. And I think it's a good move. It is really a very, very, very good and commendable move.
The 1,215, I think the government will have to make sure, they'll take extra measure to make sure these guys are safe and their welfare and everything that has to do with them. Since it's the first time in 13 years, this is really heartwarming.
I can't agree more. Actually, Governor Zulum is a man that we all know is an outstanding governor. He's a governor that is very committed to the welfare and the security of his citizens. Like he said, that the camp opened after 13 years. In the past 13 years, anybody posted to Borno State will have to go to a place like Zamfara to do orientation for 3 weeks. before coming to, back. You have to find a place of permanent assignment to post them within the state. Yeah. So, but now that after 13 years, I guess this largest is also to say, look, we give you a sense of belonging. Look, we'll make the state safe for you. It's symbolic, It's to say, look, we love you, we welcome you, and then we will do everything possible to secure, to make your stay very comfortable. But I think that it is not yet Uhuru. You understand? So the government of Borno State and indeed security forces have to keep their eyes eagled. They have to be very watchful so that these ones who have gone to school, their parents have expended money on them, will not be lost untimely. It's very, very important. But kudos to Governor Zulum, who most people will agree he has been an outstanding. He was outstanding his first term, and he's still outstanding. Governor Zulum is different. The other time, when we came here the past week, some people were joking that this 5 billion that the federal government gave to state, that it is people like Zulum and the man in Kwara, that are sure that we use the money judiciously. That tells me the kind of trust, confidence people have in Governor Zulum. And I hope that it doesn't let the people who have trust in him down. He should keep it up, and things will become better, hopefully.
Anytime I remember this subsidy palliative across and the role of the federal government, and I see that, look, the 36 state governors will even have to play a pivotal role in driving this thing down to the local government, down to our people. Because if it doesn't trickle down, the purpose would have been defeated.
It's not simply to make labor happy. This should be for every strata of our society. Everyone is affected by fuel subsidy removal one way or another. And the labor force is just 5% of our population. So whatever you do for labor, it should not end there. You have to think of other people who are not members of NLC, TUC, and the rest of them. So this is what the governor has done. Remember, he was the first to come out with palliatives before others even thought in concrete terms about what palliatives to come up with. He had acquired buses for intrastate transportation, and he got vans to move farmers and their produce from point to point. He was doing this to encourage farmers to continue to go to their farms in spite of the very difficult situation that they found themselves with the removal of subsidy. So going to the NYC camp to also give them money, share 36 million to 1,215 core members is significant. And I would want to see other governors do this, because at the end of the day, these guys are serving their nation and they are not insulated from the pains inflicted by the removal of subsidy. They are not insulated at all. How much is even their allowances? And they are far away from their homes, from their parents. So they are serving their country. Governors should not forget them. So in sharing the subsidy palliatives, they must remember the core members, because they are also among the most vulnerable. When you bear in mind what can their allowances even buy in today's Nigeria. So Zulum again has shown foresight, he has shown quick thinking by extending the palliatives to the core members and assuring them that their coming to Borno will not be in vain, and that they will be well taken care of, so that they can take good memories back to their states of origin. And he also has to be given kudos for reviving the NYC camp after 13 years. So the rebuilding of Borno is proceeding at a good pace, but the truth is there is a lot of work to be done because the terrorists destroyed entire communities. I've visited some communities where you will not see a single building standing with its roof. They set ablaze. They are a very destructive group of people. They will destroy, they will set ablaze even overhead tanks. I saw overhead tanks with holes drilled in them, just so that you cannot use those overhead tanks to provide water for our people. Boko Haram elements are among the most despicable crop of human beings to ever walk the face of the earth.
So, Dotun, taking you to Anambra State now, where Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo had distributed subsidy palliative and payment of additional 12,000 naira to workers. Now, at the time this thing started, you know, it wasn't biting as hard as we expect now. By that time, we're rejecting 8,000 naira. Now, some of us have come to realize that it's not about Lagos, it's not about Abuja. That some people that are out there in the States, by the time 12,000 naira additional money to their money, they are going to be very, very happy.
Well, I think the issue with the 8,000 naira that a lot of Nigerians objected to was that there was no verifiable data to use in determining
how do you now
who should get the 8,000. Now we can see those who are getting
identify part of.
Now we can see them. We can put a face to them. We can put a face. These corpers, these corps members have gotten in Borno. There is a face to them. There is a number, 1,215 database. In Anambra, they have the payroll system that is in operation. So civil servants.
Just
even when we know that there will be ghost workers there, at least there is a basis. Somebody does not stand up like it was before during COVID and said food was distributed in schools that were closed, that were shut at that time, or was distributed inside. You took cash and you went to a community and you distributed. With all the stories that we had of people collecting the money for photo ops, and as they are walking out, part of it is either collected or everything is taken away from them. So that's not that's the issue with this now. We can see what is verifiable, not some governors or civil servants pocketing the money or ministers. That is what is happening now. If Soludo has done this, there is a basis on which we can calculate how much he has given out. 12,000 naira to so number of workers for so number of months. So those people who are faceless, that we can't see, collecting the money, will now be the family members of these civil servants. Not just somebody have given Chukuma. With Chukuma in Amadioha village. How many Chukumas do you have there? How do we identify them? So we are getting a direction now. And this is where somebody like Soludo should be, congratulated. We should praise him on this. The man in Kwara State, like he also said, we can see traces of what he's also doing in terms of giving a face to those who are taking the money. This is for this local government. This is for this. The one that I also don't still support is the food palliative, where you say you have given 200,000 bags of rice out. It doesn't add up. We saw the video from Kwara, where a whole community, where you had almost 50 people standing up, and they had only 6 derricks of rice. That's those who were available at that time. Can imagine the number of people who will still be away to work when that meeting was held. So we should be able to target specifics. We should know that where we are taking this, there is going to be impact. It's not just throwing water from a teacup into the ocean. There should be specifics. We should know. This is the 5 billion. These are the people who got it. And then we can see. We can put, even if we don't know them physically, but it's a name. There's something that person is doing. Ministry of this. This person is a civil servant. Level so and so. Ministry of this. And not just somebody somewhere.
It's not just the program telling us what you do that matters. Nigerians are worried that what has happened in the past, we just hear billions or billions distributed. We don't know. There's no accountability. There's no kind of transparency. Nigerians are clamoring for a system that is very, very transparent.
So we can't blame Nigeria for their skepticism because this country has a history of claims of largest being doled out, money being doled out, without an effect, visible effect that you can measure, on the people. But what is important is there should be monitoring. It's not enough to just say, okay, we are giving out these bags of rice and that and this. So how are people being monitored? Even if you are going to distribute in homes, there should probably be some tracking devices, to know, okay, as this person delivered to this so family. You can introduce tracking devices. It's important. It's important. You can also interface with stores instead of taking the what's it called, the food to the people. Maybe a store, a shop. People can go there, some designated shop, and get the pallet. However you do it, there's no end to the kind of innovation that can be deployed into this kind of thing. However you do it, there must be monitoring, there must be supervision, so that it does not get into the hands of people who just like to siphon what belongs to the people.
All right. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, has urged President Bola Tinubu to ensure payment of the 8 months withheld salaries of lecturers on the account of the 2022 strike. ASUU also asked the new government to put machinery in motion for the conclusion of the renegotiation of the 2009 ASUU/Federal Government Agreement following recommendations of Professor Nimi Briggs' committee to restore integrity in the system. Julie, when the strike was suspended by ASUU, the federal government, through the last administration, vowed not to pay them the 8 months that they went on strike. And it was like a no work, no pay situation. And that thing, we thought the federal government, under the last administration, we thought they were going to change their mind. But till now, that 8 months is not looking as if they will give members of ASUU. So ASUU now, they are now demanding it that, come, this is a new administration, please work with us and pay us our 8 month salary.
I think that the government should go ahead and pay ASUU the 8 month salary that you are being owed. ASUU is not the first to go on strike in our country. In fact, research institutes in our country went on strike for over a year, and they continue to collect salaries. They don't have two heads now. I know that it was the former president that insisted on not paying them, despite being advised to pay them. ASUU's argument is that during the strike, it was only the lecturing component that you could say was affected by the strike. Researchers continue to work on research. The universities were not shut. Even during that period, some university senates were called upon to exercise their duty. Vice chancellors were at work. So it's not exactly right to give the impression that throughout that period that universities were shut, they were not working at all. So yes, they were not giving lectures, but some of them were supervising doctoral thesis, and these people were being supervised. Some of them were involved in research, and they continued to work on their researches. So I believe that the not paying them their salary at that time was bad enough. In any case, they decided to end the strike because they were told that those issues, those outstanding issues, would be resolved. And up to today, those issues have not been resolved. I know that the ASUU president is not somebody particularly good at negotiating, and some of his caustic comments may have angered people in government. For example, this ASUU president came out to condemn the student loan scheme. I wonder how that was his business. You have issues that you are pursuing with the people in government, and you are stepping forward to annoy them more and more. How is it going to be possible for you to extract some of the demands that you've been making when you have not shown good faith? What is your business with the students' loan thing? Even if you have issues with it, since you are looking up to these people to help you address what seemed like injustice perpetrated by the previous administration, you have to know what and what to say. It's not as if they told me that this is why they've not responded to ASUU. Well, I'm just telling the ASUU president that he has to watch his tongue. I supported ASUU from the beginning right up to the end. But the truth has to be told. That Professor Osodeke, some of his utterances, for example, giving the impression that ASUU was conned, deceived by Femi Gbajabiamila. And Femi Gbajabiamila fought for ASUU from the beginning, just the same way he stepped in and got resident doctors to end their strike. But you are saying that he conned you, he deceived you. I mean, that's not for somebody who has shown respect to ASUU and shown an interest in solving ASUU's problems. This kind of utterances are simply meaningless. They don't achieve anything in the end. So, yes, NLC has also pushed that this money should be paid. I agree that the money should be paid. There is no point punishing them. Some of their colleagues have even lost their lives as a result of the pains that were inflicted on them during this period. So I want to appeal to the government of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to consider paying ASUU this, not just this 8-month salary, but their promotion areas as well. We will not have industrial harmony in our ivory towers, federal ivory towers, if some of the outstanding issues are not addressed, especially even the recommendations of the Neme Briggs, the late Neme Briggs panel. Government set up the panel, but refused to honor his own obligation by implementing the recommendations of a panel that it's set up by itself. I think the Tinubu administration has an obligation to correct some of these things and get ASUU to realize that it has nothing against them. But as I said earlier, the president of ASUU has to also be conscious of his public utterances, because they are not helping ASUU at all. And I'm sure a lot of his colleagues know that, even if they don't say it to his face. Those needless utterances are not helping the organization.
So, the no work, no pay thing, former President Muhammadu Buhari decided to follow it to the latter, and a lot of people tell that he has not done anything wrong.
Basically, nothing wrong. There is a court order to that effect. There is a court ruling to that effect. The National Industrial Court. It says no work, no pay. So even if
twice, if you want to go on strike.
Well, even if there is still a court order that is in place. So if they do not, like BQ said, go through a peaceful resolution path, they are still going to be referred to this judgment that was delivered at the National Industrial Court, which said at that time, see, we do not agree that you should pay these lecturers through the IPPIS. But for people who have gone on strike, they shouldn't be paid. So it's there very clearly. So what ASUU can do is not to threaten strike again. It has two parts to follow, either of two parts. Go back to the court and fight it all the way through, possibly up to the Supreme Court, to get this thing paid. By which time I'm sure most of these lecturers will not be in service again if we allow the judiciary to run its full course. Or to the path of peace. Things have gone wrong. The way we are even in this country now, we don't need all this threat of strike again. We don't. The country is at a stage where a little thing can lead to a massive crisis because people are on the edge. People are seriously on the edge. You want to get students back to their homes again after being on strike for over 1 year in the last 3-4 years, cumulatively. That's going to be pure wickedness. So I support BKO. Let them go and say, see, the National Industrial Court, through its president, Nnamdi Kanu, ruled, truly, but we are ready for us to resolve this matter amicably, not through the courts again. Because that was what happened. Ngigi took them to court when they couldn't resolve it. We know the situation of the country. The economy is bad. But not for government to completely neglect the education sector. Not at all. But in between when we negotiate, workers generally now, all the unions, in between when we negotiate, we should be able to see some of the finer details. What is this country making? How much are we making? How much are we expecting the government to give to us? If government should meet all the needs of ASUU, the economy will completely collapse. It means doctors, other workers will have nothing.
Ultimately, they have to continue to dialogue, and it's the prerogative of the federal government maybe to give them the money or not.
Yes, we can say that, but again, you cannot indulge in war all the time. We have to also judge on. The question is, what were the reasons that ASUU went on strike? Those reasons, could they have been tackled headlong? You see, ASUU went on strike because of unpaid allowances. ASUU went on strike because of the comatose situation of the education sector.
And previous agreements.
All of previous agreements not met by several administrations. Government has a very bad history of not keeping. So government is very good at signing agreements with these unions, and it's also even better at reneging and failing to keep those promises. So those people went on strike because there have been promises and promises and promises. Then out of some sort of grudge, government now went to court and said, look, okay, no work, no pay. I think that there should be a way of resolving this thing in a more diplomatic way. You understand? On the part of government, on the part of ASUU. I remember very well that the current president, as the candidate of APC, promised that for a 4-year course in university will be a 4-year course in the university. Yeah. So anything that has the potential to lead to an industrial action in that sector should be avoided. He should be a man of his word in that area. He should make sure that nothing leads to. After all, the people that will suffer more are the children, the students. Spending 4 years, 5 years, 6 years to study a course like history or philosophy or accountancy. It does not make sense. When are we going to have an end to all of that? So on one hand, we can say, okay, ASUU, calm down. don't go on strike, everything doesn't have to be strike. We still have to tell government that, look, meet with these people. I also agree that it may not be easy to meet all of the needs at the same time, but there must be what? Communication. There must be seriousness.
And even conscious efforts.
Exactly.
And the bad part of it now is, when you look at the cost of governance, what a lot of Nigerians are complaining about, you begin to say, how do you want to make me understand that you don't have money when you are putting this level of, how do I describe it now? Expenses on the government that's needless. And there are so many things that we can point to that people are talking about, because a lot of things can't make sense to a man who is hungry. Yeah. A lot of things. Yeah, you say you want to buy a bulletproof car for one government official. It doesn't make any sense to a man who is hungry saying, okay, why will a man be preventing himself from being killed and buy a vehicle worth 300 million naira when that 300 million can do a lot in a society?
All right, moving on now. The Nnamdi Kanu issue is getting more knotty for the federal government. The House of Representatives ad hoc committee interfacing with relevant security agencies to reduce kidnapping, assassinations, and banditry in Abia communities has called for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. According to the committee, Kanu's release will serve as an incentive for the people in the southeast. Jude, President Bola Tinubu does not have any dog in this fight, but he inherited this problem. And if you want peace, you must reach an agreement with Nnamdi Kanu himself, with his agitation and everything, so that the federal government should reach an agreement, and if this man will be left off the hook, he should go and sin no more, but he must stop his agitation to carry out a referendum or enemies to divide the country.
A resolution of this matter through dialogue. It's not every matter that you can resolve through court processes. Neither can you resolve every matter by going to war. So, for me, I do not want to foreclose the possibility of Nnamdi Kanu giving up this struggle. In fact, I see a lot of positives in his most recent actions. You know, Nnamdi Kanu did a handwritten letter cancelling the sit-at-home exercise on Mondays, and at any time for that matter. So I believe that there is an opportunity there for us to further seek a resolution of this matter through dialogue. For him to have gone to that extent, it shows that he too has seen that there's no sense in telling people to sit in their homes and beating up people for going to work on Mondays or 4 days. So perhaps this signals that Nnamdi Kanu could be available to make peace on this matter. And I remember that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu during his campaign said he was prepared to negotiate with aggrieved persons in the southeast. I want to believe that IPOB is an aggrieved body in the southeast, and since Asiwaju Tinubu promised during his campaign that he will be willing to dialogue with them, I think the president should put machinery in motion to put an end to Kanu's detention, because I believe a political solution is possible, and that is the point that Representative Robina Agwocha from Abia State was making, that look, let us release this man. If he's released, we are sure that there will be peace in that region. I know that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a peace-loving person. He's a man who believes a lot in dialogue. A lot of people thought he simply wanted to go to war in Niger. And you can see his most recent comments suggest that he's actually the one holding back his colleagues, heads of government in ECOWAS, that look, let's pursue peace on this matter. And he actually told the Americans that that is what he's committed to. So I think the possibility of dialogue should not be foreclosed. Both sides should be ready to dialogue. And if Kanu will give up armed struggle and his commitment to balkanizing Nigeria, I'm sure that the federal government will be ready to make peace with him. It's not an impossibility. Nobody can get up in America today and say that he wants to break up America and expect that he won't be resisted. The American law does not permit any of the federating units to try to get out of the union. You are going to be resisted. So, and that's how it is with our country too. Kanu has to give the agitation up in exchange for lasting peace.
Do you see this Kanu renouncing what he has been agitating for?
I think it will happen. It has happened already the way it is. Because like BKO noted, he wrote a note. It wasn't typed, handwritten, saying the Monday sit at home should be called off. And then they turned it into Empowerment Monday. IPOB empowering people in order to get back to their businesses. It's a huge departure from where we are coming from, where he had been talking consistently about ensuring that the Southeast breaks away from Nigeria. So we are beginning to see some good vibes, to use the language of the Gen Zs in what is happening now. If he has made this much commitment, then I think it's not impossible to talk him out of this completely. Because where he is now, there's very little he can do in terms of any agitation, and then also his position is changing. Even the people in the Southeast are calling for a breather. With the amount of money that they lose weekly to the sit-at-home, or which they have lost to the sit-at-home, it has become very clear that the agitation cannot be sustained. It can't. Otherwise, you are just going to ruin the whole of the Southeast economically. And as we know, they are some of the best businessmen and women around the country and even around the world.
Will Nnamdi Kanu back down?
Well, the feelers we are getting seem to indicate that the man has had a change of mind. The weekly sit-at-home has not helped the people that he was fighting for, or has been fighting for. Although the man in the bad boy in Finland is saying that those messages that are said to be coming from his principal are not. But I think he has his own agenda. But you know what comes to my mind? You know, I'm thinking about the struggle in Niger Delta in the days when you had men and you had the faceless Jomo Bomo, you know, being the spokesman for, it was just a fictitious name. The show of might didn't solve the problem in Niger Delta until an amnesty was extended to them, and you had a lot of militants, they repented. You know that Sintedeke now, who is a repentant militant, and he's doing he has huge investment in agriculture in Nasarawa State. So I think that we can use other means. I'm actually disposed to the idea of releasing Nnamdi Kanu, if it is confirmed that he's going to toe the path of peace and is going to be an arrowhead of, maintaining peace and save of peace and all of that in his region. I also hope that his release would calm those who are giving excuse that because what they call him or is they think he's being persecuted by the authorities. I think it's possible that they'll have a change of mind, And the bad boy in Finland, we have no excuse anymore. You can't say Nnamdi Kanu is the reason he's doing the nonsense that is causing to happen in the southeast.
So, Julie, ultimately moving forward, what do you advise this administration to do?
The situation has to be watched closely, and people will say, oh, there are more important things on Tinubu's plate at this time, but you should keep an eye on this development, and if there is an opportunity and a serious effort at dialoguing, then government should embrace it. There is no problem that is intractable. I believe that there have been other people across the world more difficult to manage than Nnamdi Kanu, that in the end, they sat together, government sat with them and opted for peace. I believe that is a possibility. We saw what happened in South Africa, where even the people killing one another, there was a sort of power sharing that ensured that they were made vice president and they stopped the black-on-black violence, very embarrassing black-on-black violence in South Africa at that time. Buthelez's men slaughtering ANC men. It came to an end at some point through dialogue, not through the usual cutting of people's necks. It was dialogue that prevailed in the final analysis. So those who always ask me, why are you asking for Kanu's release? I'm asking for his release on conditions. If it will agree not to take up arms against Nigeria anymore, if he will renounce his Biafra agitation in favor of a united Nigeria, I will be ready to carry placards and work for his release without the court exhausting the process. This is what I've seen happen in other countries, and I believe that it can happen in my country, even under the current administration. But Kanu has to lead the way. Kanu's people have to be the ones demanding for it and promising that they will take certain steps that will ensure that government does not regret releasing him.
All right. We'll take this break. When we come back, we're back for the second half of Journalists Hangout on Sunday. It's a special edition. We'll be right back after this breather. Please don't go away.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teacher.
Can't continue like this.
their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything. If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet sour taste for all their demands, a familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Community Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Lagos is the most visited state in Africa as the 5th largest economy on the continent. Covering the state and its government is no mean feat, it's a busy beat. We go beyond the curtain of tapes to travel in far into the deep.
I want to thank the Lagos State government for the healthcare facility.
To bring stories that cut across all spectrums.
A greater Lagos shall be ours.
We tell you stories that define our collective well-being as Lagosians. I'm Adedoja Salamadini. I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
Thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining us, this is the second half of Journalist Hangout on Sunday. And I still have Babajide Kolade Otitojun from Abuja studio. I have Dr. Oladipo and Paul Dada in our studio here in Lagos. The resurgence of coup d'etat across Africa is putting democracy and the continent at risk. As such, President Bola Tinubu is seeking the support of the United States over threats to democracies in Africa. He advised U.S. President Envoy and Assistant Secretary of State of African Affairs, Ambassador Molly Fee, to ensure that U.S. policy is intentionally collaborative with independent African democracies at a time when they are under assault by anti-democratic forces within and outside the continent. Dr. President Bola Tinubu seeing the trend, especially around West African countries, and this care is not taken, might spread across more states, more countries in the West Africa, in around West Africa.
Yes, the president is right on that. But there are two issues there for me. Number one, there is no other way out for African countries than to institute good governance. What we have seen is that governance has collapsed in a lot of African countries. What we have now are people who struggle to get into government to enrich themselves and make the people that they're supposed to serve poorer. Once those who are in government understand this, I don't see how it will be possible to overrun a democratically elected government. And part of what we've seen in Niger Republic, which is the most recent, is that even the people, no matter how much of bribe they would have been given, are out on the streets supporting the coup plotters, hailing them for doing what they did. So, good governance, we can't take away. Number two was what President Bola Tinubu said when he received letters of credence from some ambassadors. And I think I like that. And that is the fact that Africa must look inward to resolve its own issues. All of these people including the US, that we are calling on to help us, will only protect their own interests as far as Africa is concerned. Yeah. Let me quote the president. He said, Africans need to work for the progress of Africa. We should be able to resolve our internal problems collectively. It requires a great commitment, but we must work, we must do that. No one can understand our people better than we do. Homegrown solutions are better for all of us, and the remedies will last longer. When we completely depend on foreigners to help us, they are going to come here to protect their own interests. Like I said at the time on the program, it is only Nigeria that I have seen made commitments in places like Liberia and Sierra Leone without thinking of what is in it for us. Other countries don't do it. Mm-hmm. Other countries don't do it. If we bring in a French company to Nigeria today for oil exploration, they are going to bring in their own managers into that company. Check the IOCs. Is it that we lack the personnel that can handle what we are doing now with our crude? We don't. But they are the ones who are bringing in their own investment, so they are protecting their own interests. That is what African countries must learn. You can't go and invite other countries like France or any other one to come and help you to work on your mineral resources. And you think that they are going to hand it back to you the way it is. Just like what is happening with our own crude in Nigeria. We take it out, they refine for us, they give us only petrol or diesel at a rate that we cannot work with. It's just the same thing, inviting these other countries. Their interest in Africa will purely be to serve themselves. So we must look inward and address these issues ourselves, because no other person can help us other than ourselves.
Oh. It was as if you read my thoughts. It's ironical, It doesn't make sense. Africa is so much blessed with resources, natural resources. But we are bedeviled by bad leadership. So asking, well, President Tinubu spoke like an African leader who should, a key African leader. But beyond that, we must bring good governance. Africa has suffered brain drain because of what? Bad governance. There are many Africans who think that there is no hope for them in this continent. And that's the truth. We've had Africans, and Nigerians in particular, that have had to risk their lives, migrating to the desert just to get to Europe. Many people are ready to do anything in Europe, to become slaves, to go into prostitution, so that they can escape the harsh realities of Africa. Doctors have run away and they are still running. The Jackpot syndrome, the degree of the syndrome is higher. And you said it the other time, said Nigerians are now, they want to jackpot to Cyprus, even countries that were not mentioning when we didn't hear before. That they want to go anywhere. Look at the war in Ukraine. A lot of Nigerian students were stranded. They had to leave Ukraine because of. And why would they go to Ukraine in the first place?
Well, we don't even speak the same language.
Just imagine, why would Nigerians go to a place like Sudan to study? It's the issue of bad governance in this continent. We've had powerful men, dictators, even civilian dictators, who are not delivering good life to their people. And people don't even believe in their government. Look at what's happening in Niger now. I can tell you for free that even if these people don't relinquish power, one way or the other, Niger will have a way of getting rid of them. The people in power, now because they are not going to be better, whatever excuse they have, for ousting Bazoum, you understand, does not mean that they are going to become, in fact, they don't even look like people that are intelligent from their utterances or their actions. They are so intelligent, they look so poor, sound so poorly educated. You understand what I'm trying to say? And that's the kind of, they are the people that are trying to administer a nation, you know, steering the affairs of their people. So what Africa needs to look inward and, you know, find a way of doing better for ourselves. And that's the truth. We have to do better for ourselves in this country. America is interested in America. If America comes to Nigeria, America is looking for America in Nigeria. America is looking for America anywhere America goes. Same with France. Same with UK. They are looking for their countries in other countries. Why don't we find ourselves in our various countries in this continent? And let's get better.
All right. The leadership crisis rocking the Labour Party has degenerated into more confusion following an appeal court ruling on Thursday. Both Lamidi Apapa and Julius Abure, who are factional leaders of the party, are claiming to be the authentic chairman of the party. Jide, let me start from you. You know, it was like something that's okay, in-house thing that with time, with, you know, court rulings and everything, that they will resolve the leadership crisis within the Labour Party. Now, I think the Labour Party is on the path of self-destruction because the way it is, this might linger to the Supreme Court level. We have the election of Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo states, and we don't know, ultimately, at the end of the day, INEC will have to recognize within the faction, between Lamidi Apapa and the Abure faction, and this might be costly to the Labour Party, looking at their prospects in places like Imo states that is very bright.
You know, the law is the law, and if you are among those pushing for people's eyes to be on the judiciary, then you must also show respect to the judiciary. As we speak today, Abure has one problem. And the problem has to do with the restraining order made by a court in the FCT, stopping him from parading himself as the national chairman of the party. That restraining order came because of a criminal matter filed against him and others. He was accused, he and others were accused of forgery, forging the party's stamp, logos and all that, to be able to clear some aspirants in the party to be the standard bearers of the party in various elective positions, for various elective positions before the 2023 general election. Abure has not succeeded in setting aside that order. And they are behaving like the order does not exist. But the order exists. And until he is able to set aside that order, whatever action he takes, from my own layman's point of view, whatever action he takes will amount to a nullity. And he knows that. He needs to know that. Because I don't know the people advising them. You must set aside that order of the FCT court. Okay. From his words, Esan Otri in Edo State, when Shuaibu got up and claimed that he had suspended the Abure as national chairman. Of course, Abure went to court, and the court set aside his purported suspension. The matter was appealed by the same person who suspended him, and the Court of Appeal upheld the decision of the lower court that an individual has not got the power to suspend the party chairman. But that is a civil matter. The criminal matter is the elephant in the room. So I'm not surprised that that judgment came from the appeal court in Imo, because it simply set aside everything that Abure has done since that order of the FCT court was made. So what the Imo Court of Appeal has said is INEC should work with Nnamdi Kanu. INEC should collect the list of the candidates for the off-season elections in Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi from Nnamdi Kanu. He is saying that it is Nnamdi Kanu that, or Apapa, I don't know the correct pronunciation. He said that is Nnamdi Kanu's NWC that INEC should deal with for now. So they are playing with fire. At the rate they are going, they may not even have candidates for those elections. They are saying they want to win in all of those states. But you must do the right things. Get that order of the court in Abuja vacated. If you do not get it vacated, everything that you are doing is will amount to a waste of time. So that is the real issue that Abure is facing at this time, and it's not complicated. It's not complicated. The same way he got the courts in Edo and the appeal court to set aside the suspension by a certain Shuaibu, he should get a superior court to set aside the order of the court in FCT, which stopped him from from parading himself as the chairman of the party until the criminal matter is dispensed with. It's just like the matter of Emefiele. Emefiele ran to court to stop the DSS from arresting him or prosecuting him on terrorism-related charges. The DSS has not been able to set aside that order because an Abuja court restrained the DSS. They've not been able to set aside that order. In fact, they could have, when they found an assault rifle in his house, they probably could have amended their charges and charged him for terrorism. But because that that order subsists, the DSS could not charge him for terrorism despite finding the gun in his possession. You know? They couldn't charge him for terrorism-related offense because they've been stopped from doing that. So, Abure, for now, and let's not also forget, the cases, their candidates are losing in court on account of the time when Abure became chairman and all that. So a good number of them, what the opponents are pushing is that they have not stayed long enough to be described as bona fide members of the Labour Party. And they are losing from one court to another. Elumelu defeated their candidate. Faleke just won another case on the same legal principle that the people who conducted the primaries had not even been in the party long enough to be called party members. So who knows? Maybe that's what will happen in the presidential election petitions tribunal. Who knows?
Oduyemi just won of the All Progressive Congress, just won that seat there now. So they're waiting for the appellate court to, to rule. they will appeal and we don't get it. Now, my problem is with the judiciary, because Abure too also approached the courts. He's saying another federal high court in another state, and he also got his thing, there. And while we have a court of coordinate jurisdiction saying, different things, and this is the situation, and you discover that even the presidential candidates of the party, they'll be going from this state to campaign, and they'll be campaigning with Abure, and Abure has been the one giving the flag to the flag bearers in those states.
This is the season to again re-emphasize the fact that without internal democracy, we cannot have true democracy in the country. We've been saying this from the time we returned to democratic rule in 1999. There are rules, there are laws. All parties have them. Once you can't meet them, there is no point going all out. To the party, Abure might look like a strong man, but to the law, he's not.
Was the likes of Peter Obi that still patronizing him?
No, it's not a matter of patronage. It's the person that was recognized as the national chairman of the party at that point. So, but the question is, following from the analysis they did now, PQ did, is he qualified to be the chairman in the first instance, based on the rules of the party? In some cases they get waivers. Parties do give waivers. If you, for instance, you cross over from one party to another because you were cheated there, you couldn't get your position, you can get a waiver in another party. All those processes, did they go through it? If the Papa faction is claiming, see, these people are not qualified, have they actually tackled the germane issues these people are bringing up? If they have not, then it's like wasting of time. And then you're also wasting the resources of those candidates who are campaigning now. Forget about those who have even done for the 2023 polls. They are wasting the resources because the court will still rule the same way. The law is the law. You can't run away from it. Let them go back. If they had settled internally, all these issues would not have been in the open. It wouldn't even have gone to the court. Yeah. Because nobody will come and say it. If a PDP claims this, it's just a matter of saying, see, we already had waivers, our party gives room for waivers, we've done this, we've done that. But for you to have somebody who is opposed to your leadership and you are not able to settle internally, it's a problem. I think the spirit of unionism is what they have brought into party affairs. We must have our way by all means. Once we shout, we go on strike, we do this, government will listen to us. But this is different. It's a party affair.
Some element outside, are you saying that, look, the ruling party, knowing that, look, the Labour Party, as formidable as they are, that they are trying to stoke this crisis and they're trying to destabilize their party at all costs. Well, it's the APC responsible, despite the fact that we don't have any clear evidence.
I'm not aware that officials of APC, picked up a gun and then...
That the likes of Papa and Co are masquerading, they are acting on behalf of APC to destabilize.
They will say that, they will look for
Labour Party.
But for me, I see it differently. I see Labour Party taking a gun and shooting itself in the leg. Labour Party has not even realized that this is the best time that it should be having. This is the closest it has got to producing a president. Labour Party has never had it good at the national level. Labour Party has a number of lawmakers in the National Assembly. It has never had it so good. This is the time Labour Party is supposed to consolidate on its wins and position itself as a formidable opposition party. Labour Party is not learning from a party like PDP, which boasted, which prided itself as the biggest political party in Africa. I remember in 2008, Vincent Ogbunlafo, as the chairman of the PDP, boasted that the party will rule for 60 years. We know where PDP is now. PDP has been emasculated. PDP has beaten more than it can chew. PDP could not muster a formidable opposition to the APC. You understand? And PDP is where PDP is. Now, Labour Party is not even a ruling party yet. You know, PDP was a ruling party when it lost ground. Labour Party is not a ruling party yet. And yet, it's shooting itself in the foot and blaming people for its woes. You understand? And each camp is interpreting a court judgment the way it likes. They are not serious. I align with the thought that says they shouldn't even have gotten to the court. They are behaving like unionists. I agree with that line of thought. You know, if that party is serious about really, you know, taking over the country, then it should not be doing this. It's not a serious matter as far as I'm concerned. What Labour Party should, by now, Labour Party should be thinking of 4 years after Tinubu, you know, how should be thinking of profiling solutions, alternatives to the policies of the current APC government. Labour Party has you can't say they have not enjoyed some popularity. You understand? You know, to gain traction and all of that. But now Labour Party is using its own hands to destroy itself. You know, they can keep the blame game, can say APC, Lamida Papa, APC planted Lamida Papa. I've heard that before. And they keep saying that Labour Party has a penchant for blaming everybody but itself. But Labour Party brought its travails upon itself. And whatever it gets from this, you blame itself.
Today, this might affect the off-season election. And a lot of people are saying that, look, somebody like the leaders of the party, the founding fathers of the party, they should be able to come together and resolve this amicably so that it won't hurt the party more.
That's what our Papa said. He said he's ready for reconciliation. But I think they are putting all their eggs in one basket. They believe that they don't want to believe that Buhari has been stopped by the courts. There are two different things people must understand. The case that he won twice on the bounce in Edo State is a civil matter. Somebody got up and said he suspended him, whereas it's against the constitution of their party for an individual to simply proclaim that he has suspended party chairman. And he went to court. He got judgment on that. The same person appealed. He defeated him at the level of the appeal. It is wrong to say, oh, he got different. These are different matters. The other one is a criminal matter. So it's not simply a case of courts contradicting themselves. No. This one has to do with his leadership of the party. They said they have suspended him. And the court said, no, you can't suspend the chairman. The other one, he was accused of forgery. We reported this thing. He was accused of forgery. Go and clear that one. Get that order vacated. As long as you've not been able to get that one vacated and the restraining order subsists, you are going nowhere. This is not an aluta kind of thing or something where you just simply abuse Babajide and other people. No. You must get that order vacated. If you can't get it vacated, other courts will point at the fact that there is an order of the court that says you should not parade yourself as chairman. And whatever you do, because you can't build something on nothing, if you do primaries, those primaries will be rendered a nullity. That's what the law says. The Electoral Act affirms that. So it's up to them how they want to handle their matter, but sometimes we should use our brain instead of yielding to our emotions. Because what is the big deal in having that order set aside? As long as you can't get that restraining order set aside, that criminal case, you are wasting your time.
Political parties, when you see them, after they manage the success of 2023, you look like a party like NNPP now, that house is divided against itself. The faction belonging to Boniface and Nebuna, another faction belonging to Rabiel Musa and Kwakwanso, they are suspending each other. Why is that? We can't just manage this thing. Just because you have one state, you have one Kano state, you did very well in Kano state, your enclave, you just want to destroy that party after that time.
Well, even for those who are saying that APC is the cause of the crisis in Labour Party, I think in any game, just like football, your move is to weaken your opponent anyhow you can. It's left to your opponent to put his or her house in order. So if I know I need to fight a strong man, I'll look for the enemies in-house. Why are you allowing the enemies in-house? That's the issue. Why can't they bond together? Like it has happened also, like you pointed out, in the New Nigeria People's Party. You said you were going to win the presidential election. You got just over 1 million votes. And the bulk of the 1 million was from one state. And even the one state you can't manage again. Has become a problem. And then you come and say it's APC that is causing the problem. Yes, APC has a right to even cause the problem if they want to. But what is there to fight? What battle is there to pick against a party like NNPP that we all knew before the election was not going to go beyond Kano and possibly some showing in Jigawa? We knew it all along, that it was just boasting. So what is there to fight in a party like that? And that's the big issue. Parties must learn that internal democracy must reign. There must also be justice. At the heart of everything is justice. Does this man feel satisfied with the way he has been treated? Can we sit together and talk? See, there is a problem here. Two of you can't be chairman. What are the things you have put in place to ensure that this man does not totally go against you? Once you can't resolve that.
Okay. And finally today, the controversy over academic certificates of President Bola Tinubu has raged and has decided to speak about it. President Tinubu said the clerk of Chicago State University is responsible for the differences in his certificates, with several errors in the diploma certificates issued in response to the subpoena by the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, requesting his files with the university. Why is this a big deal? As in, just a certificate to Chicago State University, and Chicago University, they're saying that, look, they will need the courts to get the records.
I think, I was thinking about this. I think Atiku's mission is actually to get the courts. I mean, if he can get the courts to say that, if he can prove in the court that the president didn't attend that university or he didn't have...
But the days, the time frame
for
allotment of evidence...
I don't think...
The presidential tribunal has elapsed.
I don't...
This elapsed...
I don't think his mission... I don't think it's about the tribunal. I think it's about trying to prove that a crime has been committed.
Okay, to what extent?
It's trying to prove that a crime was committed by the president. It's trying to say, it's trying to damage the credibility of the president as a president. It's not something he hopes to present at the tribunal. Of course, where is he going to, if the tribunal, the case has been closed, you know. But the truth of the matter is, I don't see him getting anywhere with it, because if it's about the clerical, what happened is just a clerical error. That's not, that one can be corrected, you know. For example, the date of graduation was supposed to be, I think, January 22nd. So they wrote January 27th or something. And that's a clerical error that can easily be corrected. So I think that it's just a distraction, and it's an attempt to damage the integrity of the president. So, but the issue is that Mr. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has gone to the tribunal to challenge the victory of the president. That is what what I think it should focus on. You know, the tribunal has already reserved its judgment, and however the judgment goes, if the judgment does not favor the former VP, he has another opportunity to go to the Supreme Court. This, I think, is just a distraction, though he has his own mission, which I think it's just to say, okay, to, you know, question the credibility of the certificate that the man has, the qualification the man has. So that's just it.
Okay, Jire, let me take it from where Paul Dada has just banalized. Atiku Abubakar went to that university with the hope of getting the school to get the record of Bola Tinubu on time to be able to submit it at the presidential, the Court of Appeal, the tribunal. But as it is now, the time frame and everything has elapsed. So it might just be an academic exercise. I don't know why Atiku Abubakar is still gunning for this.
They are the only ones who can explain why they are doing what they are doing. The Chicago State University has repeatedly said that ASUU Bola Ahmed Tinubu passed through their school and graduated with honors. So the question is, what is the issue? What are they looking for? Because by line of authority, as long as somebody has the basic qualification, and the basic qualification to be qualified to contest in our country is the school certificate, the equivalent of school certificate, and someone has a university degree. In fact, based on the judgment handed down in Oyetola versus Adeleke, even if you have the school certificate and you have F9 parallel, you are qualified to contest. So with ASUU Bola Ahmed Tinubu having a superior certificate to the school certificate that is stipulated as the minimum standard, by line of authority, is already a waste of time. And then secondly, everyone knows that election petitions are by nature different to other forms of litigation. In election petition, whatever you fail to plead or front load, you cannot lead it in evidence. And there is legal precedence in terms of Gagu versus Mimiko and Omourare versus Fadansi. Whatever you do afterwards will be seen as an amendment to your petition, and nobody will accept that. What is significant in this matter is that under oath, the registrar of the Chicago State University, Caleb Westberg, says, and I quote, "The difference is the date of award on the diploma versus the certified copy is likely. The difference in the date of award on the diploma versus the certified copy is likely the result of human error." He submitted that affidavit to the Circuit Court of Illinois on July 24. So they've admitted that error, that they made that error, and that it could have been human error. They have not said that they didn't issue a certificate. They've not said that it didn't pass through their school. So the question really even now is, the tribunal has concluded its work. It is getting set for judgment, and people are saying that within the next 2 weeks, the judgment should come, because the final date is September 21. So the tribunal will try its best to beat the deadline. Now that we are awaiting judgment, somebody is just still shopping for evidence to nail a man who won the election. This is the first time in our history that we are not hearing about ballot snatching, manipulation of election, but they are talking about forfeiture.
Talking about the polling units.
They are talking about somebody not being qualified. You should focus on the election, the way the election went, and the evidence that you have to prove that rigging took place. I'm surprised that it's technicalities that they are focusing on, and then the matter of IREV not being posted, the result not being posted in real time on IREV. But Section 60 of the Electoral Act says the election must have been concluded and results announced before it is transferred in any way prescribed by INEC. And if anyone reads the judgment of the judgment in Oyetola versus Adeleke, the matter of IREV has even been decided. Because the IREV is seen in that judgment as a post-election matter. Because, which means that it does not stipulate that INEC, the law does not stipulate that INEC must post real time. I said the results should have been announced before you choose whatever method to transmit, whether it is electronic. So I just think that this judgment should come so that Nigerians can have their peace, because all of what we are seeing, frankly, you just ask yourself, what is this meant to achieve? Nigeria is a sovereign country on its own. Going abroad to whatever, even will it be applicable to the situation here? Will the judgment of a court in the U.S. apply to a matter being decided in Nigeria, which is a sovereign on its own? I don't, honestly, I don't understand what's going on.
I want to enlighten us, Paul, because people are saying that, oh, now that we are waiting for the judgment, now the Supreme Court will not take new evidence. Yeah. So why are we still talking about this?
Well, I think it's a matter of wanting to establish perjury. Mm-hmm. That's basically why this is. Well, that's basically what it is about. One has been cleared, and that's the issue of the certificate, university certificates. The other part is that what papers were presented to get into the university, that's for the primary and secondary schools, meaning that it's now a matter of challenging, building something on nothing. So all, from what I can see, is to establish perjury. It's a matter of, for us in Nigeria now, to begin to rethink how we run our elections. Nigeria is at a point where we need maximum concentration by the president now to take us out of the hole in which we are without distraction. Because you use that word, distraction. This is happening now at a time when we should have put that election behind us. That election was conducted months back. And we are still talking about it.
The process might be seen as
today.
Slow.
There was a time, there was a suggestion that elections should be held in November of the year before transition, which makes a lot of sense. It gives you about 6 months to inauguration, and we won't be having all of this happening because there is no way all of these cases will be in court that the lawyers will not be consulting the president.
Definitely.
So it means they are taking out of the time we should be using to focus on our issues.
Constant brief.
So we should use this opportunity to say, please, we need to revisit that proposal to have our elections in November, the November preceding the transition year, so that these issues won't be coming up as distraction.
Okay. Paul Dada, when you look at the whole thing now, and we're set for judgment, and, you know, even Mr. Peter Obi is not saying categorically that I won that election. The only thing I'm getting to hear from this plea is this person should be disqualified on this ground, on this ground, on this ground. And at the end of the day, as today we always say that we're waiting for the judgment. That's very interesting.
That's the whole idea, to to create a doubt around the integrity of the elections. You know, I do not, Peter Obi cannot say squarely that he won that election. So it's now to challenge the process that produced the man who is the president. Now the issue of the FCT, 25% is also coming up. You know, 5% of the vote. All of this. But I think all of these are also a blessing in disguise, because you know why they are blessing in disguise? For the first time, the court will now have the opportunity to make very, very direct pronouncements. Yes. For example, the issue of Abuja now, the Abuja status. If the court says, look,
it becomes the law. It
becomes the law. And then they go to Supreme Court. Supreme Court also says, this is it. So it's not, I mean, if anybody now comes up using the same arguments, it will be very easy to defeat. You understand? And even judges will rely on that. So for me, I see, you know, I'm happy. I'm even happy that people went to the court. For me, it's okay. That's the most decent thing to do. It's better than the social media harassment and all of that.
Jude, your final word on this? It seems it's going to be interesting, waiting for that judgment.
There are many reasons why that judgment is eagerly awaited. Many of us have argued that there is no Nigerian state that is superior to the other. We are being told now that you must win 25% in Abuja, just because of the way the sentence was framed in the Constitution. An illogical argument has been brought up. I'm very confident that the courts will resolve that matter, because there is nowhere in the world where the electoral system insists that you must win a particular state before you can be president. As big as New York is, and California, as big as they are, no one insists that you must win them before you can be president of the U.S. And we've seen American presidents emerge without winning New York and California, as big as those states are in terms of electoral college seats. So it's ridiculous for people to sit here in Nigeria and say you must win Abuja before you can be president. Do the people who live in Abuja here, do they have 3 heads? I've been moving around. I've not seen anybody in Abuja with 2 heads. So how is Abuja superior to other Nigerian states? It's just like a state. And the Constitution deems it as being, as having the character of a state. That's all. So I'm eager to see the judicial pronouncement on that matter, starting with the Court of Appeal and the final court, the Supreme Court, so that in future nobody will bring that ridiculous argument again, that you must win Abuja before you can be president. Once that pronouncement is made by those two courts of record, that will be the end of that argument. So in fact, for that one alone, I'm eager to see that judgment come so that we will know that this matter has been resolved permanently. Nobody will tell me that I can become president unless I win FCC.
All right.
We
have to leave it there. I want to thank you, Dr. Oladipo. Thank you for your contribution today.
Just to add that.
Thank you for your contribution. And BKO still in Abuja, thank you for your passes from the Federal Capital Territory. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for a regular episode of Journalist Hangout by 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.
It's the Premier League all on DSTV. All the goals, all the clashes, all the moments. All of Rashford, Salah, and Saka.
This start is going
all in the language of your choice. All in HD. Available on all this bouquet to choose from. To watch on all these devices. Stay connected for all the action. Get DSTV with an HD decoder. Plus dish plus 1 month confirmed for 18,500 naira. It's the Premier League. All on DSTV.
The Shared Prosperity Weekly TV series on TVC News. It is through this telecast the viewers get to know what is happening in the prosperity government of His Excellency Senator Hope Uzodinma, the Executive Governor of Imo State. Through this program, all questions agitating the minds of citizens and residents of Imo State are answered in details with documentary evidence. Don't miss it. Keep a date with us every Sunday on TVC News by 9 p.m.
Have you had a hard time with taxes and understanding tax administration in Lagos State and the complex nature of Nigerian tax law? Do you know what agency or tier of government collects the various types of taxes? Have you ever found yourself asking any of these questions? Join us for your favorite program, The Tax Talk, your infotainment program.
Hello there, there's a brand new quarter and your favorite TV program, CAC Weekly, is about to unveil new innovations fresh from the Nigerian Company Registry. Now, have you heard of the Extensible Business Reporting Language XBRL standard for filing of electronic financial statements? Do you also know that there's so much that you can do on your own on the company's registration portal, CRP, from the comfort of your home or your office? Because the CRP offers end-to-end electronic registration solution for accredited customers and the general public to initiate and complete pre-registration and post-registration applications electronically, online filing of annual returns, online registration of limited liability partnership and limited partnership. See you there.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first.
After the hustle and bustle of each day, one place people are expected to find rest is home. Statistics by the Association of Housing Corporations of Nigeria, which ranks the country home ownership at 25%, being the lowest in the world, compared to Brazil with 74%, Kenya 75%, South Africa 70%, and Indonesia 84%. Over the years, provision of adequate houses for citizens in Nigeria has been challenging for government and corporate bodies. Nigeria, with over 200 million people, is facing housing deficit, which leads to possible unaffordable cost of rent. Lagos, the commercial hub like many commercial cities in the world, has this attribute of expensive accommodation for its residents. Over the years, house rent continues to rise, making living in the city a tough job. There are many factors responsible for high cost of rent in Lagos. To find out more about this, I went in search for answers. Oftentimes, tenants blame